Here's the secret. Find humor in every situation. Stay tuned until the end of this video to get your freebie, okay? Today, I share a story about how you can find humor in every situation. Even in the most ridiculous, funny situations, you can find humor. And that's definitely, people, a superpower. Our week as farmers was filled of more joyful moments, more laughs than actually work. I thought I was going to be working like really, as a matter of fact, we did work a lot, but it was so much fun and we laughed so much that the work itself, I was like just loving it. So what an amazing experience. I wanted to share a few funny stories, and at the end I'll share a little bit about how to, your surprise, okay? So you can download your surprise. So first thing was the little chicks. So the chicks, that was an easy task. I became a farmer like immediately. It was in the morning, you just feed them, just the food, just some water. So I was like, oh, we're a pro, we could do this. That's easy. Now comes the crazy turkeys, okay? I've never ever seen any animal be so hungry and so crazy about food. That was hilarious. They ganged up on us for food, and it was like, oh my God, we fed them in the morning and in the afternoon, and it was so funny to see them like go through that so quickly, so fast, so quickly. So that's our every routine, every morning and in every afternoon. Now comes the chickens. With the chickens, it was, again, very easy. However, here's a funny story. My cousin had mentioned that the rooster was not as friendly. I was like, okay, if you encounter, like, if he gets a little bit of a toot, you just have to shoot him. Yeah, that didn't go well. I literally had a fight with the rooster, and he won, tell you the truth. So I'm confessing here that was not one of my fights that I won. It was him. He was the winner for sure. And so I guess he didn't like the idea that we were trying to get all the chickens, not in line, kind of not to leave the pen. And he felt intimidated. It was hilarious. You need to read about this, and I'll share that a little later. So that was with the chickens. Then comes the sheep. Okay, this story was hilarious. The sheep, when we had our crash training with my cousin and my nephew, they explained how I needed to go about the sheep. So the sheep are left out in the morning. We just open their pen and they're free to go and eat grass all day with the cows, and everyone's happy. So that part was easy, was beautiful. We just tend to the food and we tend to the water. Everyone needs to be hydrated at the farm. So that was easy peasy. Now, when they had the crash training for us, they had like a little canister full of food. And in the afternoon, they just shake that canister, okay? And the sheeps come immediately. They start calling them, hey, Worthy, Rock, all their names, Crazy Betty and all that. They're calling them. And the sheep come like immediately. I was so excited when we were getting training. It was so much. I was like, oh my God, this is easy. I could do this. Beautiful. Okay, here's the deal. Next day, my cousin's not there. I'm already officially the caretaker of all these animals. Boy, was I in for a treat. Morning, I left them out. It was beautiful. Fed everyone. Everyone has water. In the afternoon, we start shaking that canister, and no one's listening to me. And here's a story that I definitely have to share. So I call for, that Lifeline that you call I call it Lifeline. I call my aunt just for support. And I'm like, hey, Tia, this is happening. I don't know how to call them and they're not listening to me and all that. And she's like, oh, you know what? I was listening to the pastor preaching that the sheep only listen to the voice of their pastor. I'm like, yeah, well, I'm, in trouble here because their pastor is very far away. So needless to say, my friend and I had to get in there and kind of shoot them, right? And the grass was super high. It was dramatic. I haven't had a workout like this in a long time. But again, I was exhausted. I was super tired. It was exhausting. We had to go up and down that hill a bunch of times. One of the sheep came up where they needed to be, and then I had to go up, lock that one to make sure that they don't go again. It was dramatic. Day 1, that happened. Day 2, that happened. I'm like thinking to myself, I'm not going to survive this. It's 2. I was exhausted. I can't even explain how long the walk was and how much I had to run and up and down. It was just my friend and us two, the farmers. So we did that. Day 3, the second day, we speak to a neighbor. She was, Robin, shout out to her. I hope she sees this video. She was so lovely. She was really, really lovely. And she was like, oh, maybe you're calling them in too early. Do you want to try calling in a little later? I was like, well, I don't know. Maybe that works. So at this point, I'll do anything. Then she gave me a few other tips. So we were ready to herd these sheep. And so come the third day, we waited until later. It was almost dark outside. I was like, well, let's try it. It sounds like she has a farm. She should know what she's talking about. We call the sheep. Start shaking that canister. Okay, start calling Worthy, Betty. Start calling. And it was so exciting when all these sheep started running towards. I'm going to share that video here.
Come on, buddy.
We started celebrating. It was a party. My friend and I were like even hugging each other. It was just amazing. We had such a good laugh. And such a nice relief. Oh my God, we could do this. Okay, so that worked. Bringing them in a little later. That was with the sheep. So we survived that part. Now, the third day that we were there, we did all our afternoon and we're walking in. This is a funny story. So there's this little cat starts meowing and meow, 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 like crying, like intensively. He was like really, really, I'm like, oh my God, I think he's hurt. And I'm looking at him and there comes my friend and she's like, I think he might be pregnant. She might be pregnant. I was like, how do you think so? So maybe she's hungry. I don't know. So I text the neighbor again, saving me. And do you know whose cat is this? I think he's in trouble or she's in trouble. I didn't know at this point if it was a he or she. And it's crying like a different, I don't know what's going on. It's like really insisting. It's like almost like he wanted to show me something. And the neighbor says, hey, I think that's Marlene's cat, my cousin's cat. We didn't even know it was a cat. In all our crash course, we never spoke about a cat. I guess Pablo, that's his name, goes away and comes back whenever he wants to. So Pablo was missing in action and she didn't mention him. So Pablo came for food. Fortunately, she had food for Pablo. So we digged in, we looked into different options and Pablo was fed. Now he was happy. He was part of our farm story. But that was really a funny story. We had, so I mentioned we had the turkeys, we had the chicken, the sheeps, now the cows. That was the easy part. They were the best behaved there. We have Chabela, we have Queso and Ferdinand. They're lovely. Just the morning coffee in the front of that house, it was so lovely. I'm just full of joy. I wanted to do this video, people, because honestly, the small things, the things that you may think it's not, even work. I was supposed to be working. I was working. You could find joy in all these things and really make super great memories. And this one for sure was awesome for me and for my friend. We were having coffee. We go out with that coffee in the morning and we just say hi to Chabela and she moves back at us. It was just an experience. We loved it. We had Chuck, which is the dogs. They have 2 German shepherds. So we have Chuck and we have, oh my God, I went in blank. So we have the dogs and we had an amazing time. They were just lovely. So Fury, Chuck and Fury are our pals here. And again, it was an amazing experience. I think that you could find joy in the most amazing way and small things in life. And that's definitely a superpower. In this story, I also had, when we went to meet the neighbor in person, we had the opportunity to meet her llamas. Oh my God, they were beautiful creatures, okay? So lovely. I wrote an ebook about all my experience just because I was so excited. I was writing everything, just to keep these memories of the fun stories. There's more funny stories. And what I decided was to write an ebook to share it with you guys, with my YouTube audience. I really appreciate you following me here. I love to see your comments. I'm gonna post a link for you with instructions. So here's what we want to do. I'm gonna post a link to my landing page so you could download the free ebook. So it's gonna be free. I may be selling it on Amazon, but for my YouTube people, I'm just gonna post it and you just download it and have. And honestly, the first thing that I would love your input. I would love your comments. Love to hear your comments about this. I'm gonna share a few pictures as well here in the video. And let me know what you think. Let me know, have you ever had similar experience like this? Are you a farmer? Because I'm a farmer. I thought it was, I became a 24-hour crash course farmer. And honestly, in my opinion, I think I did pretty good. I hope that you enjoy the story, and I hope to read your comments. I hope you have as much fun reading this ebook, as much fun as I had writing it to share it with you in the world. Okay, so thank you so much for being here, and can't wait to see your comments.